Okay. We are rolling.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Do I need to start?
I think we're good. No, we're good. You're good.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll start off and talk a little bit about yourself, your history, and then what's brought you here today. And then we'll go into maybe a little bit of detail about the budget cuts and how they affect you.
Okay, just guide me with questions.
I will.
If you would, so
Okay.
get off tangents.
My pleasure. Can we start with you telling us your name?
CarolMocVideo5.
And Carol, tell us a little bit about, let's start off with your background. You said you were a reporter for the Houston Post.
I worked with the Houston Post when I was an undergraduate at UT, and I was not a reporter, but I worked with the reporters gathering information. I was sort of their assistant. And so I've been through several legislative sessions, and really have been very interested in politics for a long, long time. And I do have a background in journalism.
So most recently, tell us about your profession.
I edit a magazine that goes to electric cooperative members in Texas, and that represents over 1 million people. So it's the biggest little magazine you never heard of. I came today because I had been talking with Richard over some of my distress about these budget cuts and what's been going on in the legislature as far as what really feels like a lack of commitment to people who most need to have some assistance from the state. And I'm a taxpayer, and I don't seem to have much choice about where my taxes go, and I'd like to have a voice in this. My daughter has a mental handicap. She's disabled, and she's 38 years old now. So this has been part of my life for a very long time. And the program that she's been with now for about 9 years is threatened with cuts. And from what I've been learning from Richard, they're not just the kind of cuts where you just you cut back on whether you have birthday cakes for employees' birthdays. They're big cuts, and it would mean loss of jobs. It would mean loss of services for people who depend on these services, who can't take care of themselves. Alternatively, if they lose these services, which are the ones that I'm thinking about right now, are the home and community services. The alternative for them is homelessness, if somebody happens to throw them out on the street, who knows, or a state facility where the cost is many, many, many times higher, so there's no money saving there. There's no money saving anywhere as far as I'm concerned, because if you break what's been really stable, the pieces have to fall somewhere, and you're going to pay somewhere else. And as I understand it too, there have been no budget increases. We're not talking about some place that's asking for more money. They've been operating on this amount of money for a long time. And as far as Stephanie is concerned, this has been the most stable period of her life. She's been in and out of many different kinds of services. At one time when she was a teenager, I found a residential school in Wisconsin that was supposed to be the very best facility in the country. So I moved to Wisconsin, moved there with her so she could go to school there. And then, as we were into it for a few years, discovered that there were a lot of things going on that were not healthy, that were not good. So she moved from there. And then she moved to Texas, and she was in schools in Bryan College Station, and then she was in a group home, and then she got moved to another group home. And from that group home, she finally came to Austin, and she was with a program that lost funding and consequently deteriorated in quality. So then we found Educare, which is the best agency of its kind that I know of, as far as stability, staff concern and involvement, just the frequency of contact and staying up with people, and there's the turnover. There's no job turnover. In all these other agencies, you would meet with someone, and then 2 months later, that person would be replaced by someone else. A few months later, it would be someone else. It just became a joke. And they didn't know Stephanie. They didn't know her circumstances. So the quality of care was just up and down the whole time. And this has been a completely different situation. And, you know, as I'm getting older and Stephanie's getting older and her father is too, our huge question, because she doesn't have any siblings, what's going to happen when we're gone? If she has care from Educare or a place like Educare with caring people where there's consistency and there's commitment, then I think she'll be okay. But right now, I don't feel reassured about that at all.
Okay, I'm gonna say we have another actor who was not cast. See if we can. Self will be able to fly using it though. Come on, find another tree. Actually, okay. I think that would do a little better without a suit jacket on.
That was pretty good, Richard.
Yeah, it was dead on. Okay, so tell us what happens to Stephanie if these cuts go through?
Depending on how dramatic they are, if the program goes out of existence, what would probably happen is that she wouldn't be cared for anymore under Educare. We wouldn't get the services that we get. I would likely quit my job so that I could take care of her. But in the process, I would have to be finding something else that would be more permanent, because the whole goal for us, for our family, and for Stephanie is to prepare her for as much independence as possible, knowing that she'll never be independent, and to surround her with support and love so that she knows she has worth in and of herself. And it just makes sense that when you're going from place to place and you're uprooted, you're going to feel like something's going wrong, and maybe something's wrong with me. And that's the worst thing that could happen to someone who will never be able to care for herself and eventually isn't going to have her parents around. So, you know, I would have to be searching. I would have to get back in there and try to find something that I could count on. And I don't even know where I would begin right now in Texas. I don't know where that would be.
Tell the legislators what they need to do. Tell them, what do you think legislators should do?
Okay. I think they should get some guts and say to the people who are trying to get special privileges and bleed more money out of Texas just because they want to make a lot more money and give it to their shareholders or keep it for themselves, that's not good enough for Texas. There are people in this state who could benefit, and one of my pet peeves right now is this tax cut for people who buy yachts worth over $250,000. We're screaming and screaming about having to cut money here and cut money there, and yet the wealthiest people aren't getting cut. Why are we allowing people like Stephanie, and there are a lot of people who are even more handicapped than she is, who have fewer supports than she does? What's going to happen to those people? Is that going to wind up saving the state money? I think not. I think it's going to deteriorate. We're going to get in such a mess that we won't know. Why are we allowing people like Stephanie, and there are a lot of people who are even more handicapped than she is, who have fewer supports than she does. What's going to happen to those people? Is that going to wind up saving the state money? I think not. I think it's going to deteriorate. We're going to get in such a mess that we won't know what to do. And I heard an analogy that I think is absolutely perfect, and it's taking care of your car. You fail to put oil in your car because maybe you can't afford the oil today. You know you need it, but you don't have that $1.50 or whatever it is. And then your engine goes out. You have not saved any money at all. And I think that's what we're looking at right now. We're not saving money. We're costing money in real lives, and it's not just money. These are people's lives. If all those people, I heard also that there are 30,000 people on the waiting list for home and community services. If we brought all of those 30,000 people here and said to the legislature, in your wisdom, since you seem to know where to make cuts, tell us where to cut for these people right now. I don't think they're thinking about human beings.
I think that's good. I think that is
Perfect.
Yeah, I think we've got a good cut. We're going to start running into sound issues, but I think what we have is great. We'll edit it down to probably about 3 to 5 minutes, if not shorter. So we've got plenty of really good points that you've made.
Good thing in about the engine going out.
What's that?
About the engine going out.